Welcome back to another episode of the Wildcard Lads. I'm Ryan.
I'm Peter.
And I'm Markello.
Welcome back, Markello.
Welcome back, Markello.
Thank you, friends. Thank you, friends. A little busy going on in the life right now, but finally found time to record. Thank God.
I know. Before we get into this week's episode, Markello, I want to tell you real quick. So, just the topic we're going to be doing, we're going to be talking about division winners, our predictions, like who's going to win it in their record. When I was doing the NFC, that was really in a toss-up. I almost saw a path for your Giants to win that division, believe it or not.
There's a path if Daniel Jones isn't Daniel Jones.
I just like the way your schedule ends a lot.
But our schedule is kind of tough. It's not like one of the easier ones.
No, it is. But I think you have a talented enough roster to win games, and I think the end of your schedule favors you.
Let's start there then. Why not? We'll start the NFC East.
NFC East.
It's kind of untraditional. But...
So for me, I have it as like I was really mulling between. Look, I know a lot of people are gonna hate me for saying this, bro, but I don't think the Cowboys are gonna end up winning the division. So my two teams that are really going to be fighting for it are going to be the football team and the Giants. But the whole thing is the Giants' just strength of schedule is kind of putting me off.
Yeah, so
it's definitely a hard schedule.
I looked at the Giants' schedule, and I think you're going to be out of it by November.
Really?
That's what I'm saying. The beginning of our schedule is really rough. So the first 6 weeks of our season is so important because if it's a flop and we just go 0-6, 1-5, no way.
I think you could make 2-4, but that's the schedule. Part of the schedule you need to go 3-3.
We need to split it for sure. That's a very, very important part of the schedule.
Is okay, but then you're hanging on the ropes. Then you need to almost win out.
Is it just me who think there's a path for the Giants to start the? I could see 2-1 to start the season.
Who they play? Denver, right? I think they can beat
Denver in MetLife week 1.
I think they're going to beat Denver. I think I had them winning.
Okay. And then I understand Washington. Everybody's picking them because they're at home.
The Giants did sweep Washington last year, to be fair.
But yeah, you guys played well against Washington. So I'm still saying, I'm not chalking it up, Washington's winning or the Giants are going to win. But
it's a Thursday night.
That game could go either way.
Yeah,
that game could go either way.
Unfortunate for the Giants is it's 3
And then you're home against the Falcons.
Yeah. So look, there's a path to 2-1. Maybe
I mean, there's a path for 3-0, but it'll probably be 2-1. That's still a good start. But I know the Chiefs are in there. I think Tennessee's in there. There's a lot of decent teams.
No,
is it just me who loves this end of the year?
Our first 6 games after those 3 would be the Saints in week 4, the Cowboys in week 5, and then the Rams in week 6.
I think you're losing all 3 of those games. So
you think so?
Yeah,
with that.
I think the Cowboys is another toss-up.
Yeah,
I think everybody's overrating the Cowboys because of Dak Prescott and how good of a quarterback he is. He's great. That offense is great. But I don't think they made enough strides on defense to be significantly better than what they were last year. So let's not forget, Dak was throwing for this year. Yeah, Dak was throwing for 400 yards and still losing games. So it doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we started with this because I have the Cowboys winning the division easily.
Whoa.
So I did records. So I had Dallas 11-6, Washington 9-8, Giants 7-10, and Eagles 6-11.
Before we move on to the Cowboys real quick, I just want to, again, the end of the schedule I love for the Giants. You play the Chargers in December, right? So I don't think they're going to be who knows. Actually, I don't even want to underrate them. So they might be in the hunt for a wild card spot, but I think that game could go either way. Even though the Chargers got a lot better, I think you stand a fighting chance, right? That's December 12th. Then you play the Cowboys at home. I like your odds there. You play the Eagles in Philadelphia. You usually lose against Philadelphia, but I feel like their team's so bad this year, and it's going to be so late in the season where they're not really going to be playing for nothing.
Yeah.
Other than to upset your chances.
We're definitely running into Justin Fields at the end of the season. There's no ducking him at that point.
You play in Chicago beginning of January, it's going to be tough, but you don't know which quarterback you're going to be getting. And again, I think they're going to be
Justin Fields, dude. 800.
All right. Well, they're going to be out of it. They're going to be out of it by then, right? And you still have a really good defense who's going to be playing for something. I like your odds in that game. And then you play Washington in MetLife to end your season. I like the beginning of your
that might be the game to that could be a very big deciding game.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I was
wild card spot, division winner, what goes down.
Yeah, I ultimately picked Washington to win the division.
Me as well.
Because of that game, though. I think that was the swing game. But let's I'm going to look up right now the Cowboys schedule. I did look at the Cowboys schedule.
But hear me. The reason why I don't have the Giants winning, and this is the difference in 2 or 3 games, is because of how bad the Giants have been in division. I know they swept Washington last year. I just don't think they're going to sweep Washington this year. I feel like they might only win 2 division games this year.
Both being the Eagles.
Yeah,
Okay.
and one being Washington.
The Cowboys' first 6 aren't any easier than
I really don't think the Cowboys are going to sweep the Giants. I'm being 100%
Dude,
honest with
the
you.
Cowboys.
I
All
don't
right, so
think
the
so.
Cowboys' first 6 games are as follows, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
They're at Tampa Bay. They're getting rocked. There's no way Brady is letting, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys waltz into Tampa Bay defending Super Bowl champions. It's not happening. Then they play the Chargers, another.
That's
Oh,
okay.
that's
That
gonna
could
be a
go
tough
either way.
game.
That game. That could go either way.
That can go either way, but I don't know. I like the Chargers odds a little bit better. Then they play the Eagles, which of course probably gonna be an easy win for them. Play the Panthers.
They're going to beat the Panthers.
They're gonna be the Panthers. The Giants game
That's
could go 50-50. I
Disrespect.
know
That
you're
could go.
leaning
That
more.
Panthers game could go either way. Let's.
I don't
how
think
it
so.
is.
I think I'm leaning more towards the Cowboys in that game, but I know you're the secret Panthers fan on the low, so
I'm not.
I had
I'm
to
just
throw that in.
Well, I don't
respect
know.
where it's given.
Then they play the Giants in week 5, right? So the Giants again 50-50. And then you move on to playing the Pats in week 6.
But the Pats, as if we're being honest, they're a decent team, but they're not like the same Tom Brady.
But
team.
it's also in New
Dude,
England.
that defense, yeah, that defense is going to play a big factor too. Dak might not be able to
It's not
over
gonna-
400.
It's not going to be an easy game. I'm just saying that's a winnable game for me.
It's a 50-50.
Honestly, I think I if I was a betting man, I'd put my money on the Patriots.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'd say it's 50-50.
You guys don't see a path where the Cowboys win at least 4 division games, probably 5.
4 division games,
Like,
meaning
if we're being honest, Dak Prescott just money in the division every single year of his career.
that's fair.
Good Dallas.
That
I
means he's
also-
got to take.
Mediocre Dallas team.
That
But
means he's
knowing-
got to sweep
knowing
one
the
team and
Cowboys-
take one off of the others.
So the only
Knowing
reason
the
why-
Cowboys, I could see them lose games against teams like the Vikings, the Falcons. I could see the NFC South really beating up on them.
Okay, I can't see that. So, like,
I think there's a path for it.
I think the NFC South is just kind of weakened at this point. If we're just being honest, like Atlanta's lost Julio. I don't think Carolina's as good as you think they are, Peter. And I think the Saints, even though I have them, I believe making the playoffs, they're not like the same like 13 and 3.
Caliber of team.
Yeah, like they dropped off a little bit. And Washington, the only reason, so we just been talking about like you guys both pick Washington. The reason why I didn't is because of Fitzpatrick. Maybe it's just because I have scars. I just can't trust that man to make the playoffs ever. It just seems like wherever he goes, it's something like, oh, like pretty good team. Like even last year in Miami, right? They won like 10. I think they went 10-6. He just finds like unlucky ways not to make the playoffs and like unfortunate ways. So I think I had them going like 9-8, 10-7. Like so they're gonna be close. Like they're gonna be a good team. I just think for whatever reason they'll miss out by like one game.
Yeah, my thing is I won't be surprised if any of these teams win the division.
So I'm looking at it right now, and Washington and Dallas play their 2 games super late in the season.
Yeah.
So we're like December 12th is their first game, and their last game is December 26th.
What are they?
So this division is going to be up in the air until January,
Yeah,
unless
I
like
just-
we see the clear cut like fallout of a team like just losing and losing and losing.
yeah,
But if you look from November 21st, that Chiefs game where they play, in
That's what I'm saying.
Arrowhead,
The end of their schedule is pretty hard.
besides the Raiders, like it's a pretty
yeah, but
hard
that
schedule to
year,
finish.
you basically all
And the
play,
Eagles.
you guys all play the
Eagles are
same
gonna beat up
schedule.
on.
Like you guys all play 15 of the same teams. That's outside of. So I think you guys differ for 2 or 3 games. So actually, you guys play 14 of the same games, 3 different ones. So like,
But
this-
my difference maker is like because obviously like they're all going to be playing the same teams.
Yeah.
Is when they play these teams, I trust New York and Washington's defense more than I trust Dallas's,
which
and I
is
think that's going to play a factor in the offenses that they play against.
yeah, and you can even say coaching. But the only difference for me is like the Cowboys division record is like that's going to be the difference for me.
No, yeah, I know that's what you're.
And the
honing
gap
on.
between Dak Prescott and Fitzpatrick and Dak Prescott and Daniel Jones.
But I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I don't think Dallas are going to get swept by anyone in the
By
division.
anyone.
Yeah.
By anyone. I think
But-
the only team getting swept this year is going to be Philly, if we're being realistic.
I actually have Philly better than people think. Like I don't have them good.
No, I don't have them bottom of the league. I just
Yeah.
like
I think they're going to be putting the pieces together, and they're not.
Their projected win total in Vegas is like 4.5. I see them around.
There's no way. No, because it was the same thing last year when the Saints played them. They were so underrated, and they came out and they just executed a game plan and they won the game. All you have to do is execute your game plan and play better than the other team on that given Sunday.
I'm kind of glad we got this division done first. It's a little interesting start.
So you guys have
But it could really go any way. I could see, like, I won't be surprised if we're sitting there in January and Cowboys win the division, or if the Giants do, or if Washington does.
All I know
just
is
don't
that
think
7
there's
and
not a
9
path
will
for
not
Philly.
win the division this year.
No, I think you need 10 wins to win this division
Yeah,
this year.
you need 10 wins at least, probably on like knocking on the door of 11.
And I have Washington hitting that 10-win mark. I had them going, whatever, 10-7.
10-7,
Yeah.
yeah. So I've watched.
I also have Washington.
9. I have them at 9-8, and Cowboys 11-6. They're my like division winners.
Okay. I think 11 wins for the Cowboys is generous. If you say the Cowboys are getting 11 wins, that means everything's going right. And they're beating all the teams they should beat, which I think is impossible for the Cowboys because they don't do that.
I mean, they kind of do it every other year. So I kind of predicted them to win.
No, I know. I know what you're saying. Like every year, a new division winner comes out. But I'm saying you're saying that the Cowboys are going to beat all the non-playoff caliber teams. And I think there's some non-playoff caliber teams like the Panthers or Chargers that can upset them.
Yeah, well, that's fair. Maybe 10-7 is more realistic, but still, like this schedule, I will be fair to the whole NFC East. Like this is not an easy schedule. So regardless of
No.
they might like.
But yeah,
the division winner might actually only win 9 games because like they're if some of these teams like I don't think there's a huge gap between all these teams in the NFC East, maybe besides Philly. So like, I think the ultimate like determination is going to be who wins the division games. Like who
yeah. And that's why you make a fair point in having confidence in the Cowboys because, like you said, they're good in their division. So I'm not faulting you for choosing the Cowboys. I like that we're not all unanimous. I just think, again, I'm too in love with Washington's roster not to pick them.
Let's move on. I want to save the NFC West for our last one for the NFC.
Okay.
It's probably going to be where we
Another tough one.
Let's go to the North. We'll just get this one over with. I have the Packers for now, like until we hear Aaron Rodgers isn't playing. I looked at their schedule and the NFC North for me, like I don't see the Lions in contention. Obviously this year, I think they're only going to win like 3 or 4 games. I'm probably like solo on this, but I know the Bears made the playoffs last year. I have them only winning like 5 or 6 games this year. I don't think the Bears.
I'm with you.
Okay,
I'm with you with that as well.
So I looked at their schedule too, and especially if Dalton's playing, I think there's a very good
tough.
chance they go like 4-13, 5-12. Now if Fields comes in, maybe there's a spark, maybe they can rally, win some games late. But
he's not going to come in working with much though. At the end of the day, like he has Allen Robinson, and then
and the Bears defense is really like crumbling down now with age and stuff and salary cap reasons. The Vikings, right, were a team we talked about like we did last week's episode. Kind of talked about them a lot throughout the offseason because like I did like their offseason. I looked at their schedule, and I don't see a path for them for the playoffs unless Aaron Rodgers is not playing for the Packers. Then they will win the division because the Vikings have a good roster. I just think because the NFC is like really kind of like loaded in some other divisions, I have a really tough time. I had them hovering over 500, the Vikings, but like this roster should be better than around 500 or like maybe 1 game above. So for now, I'd have the Packers kind of running away with it, like 12 or 13 wins for Rodgers.
If he plays.
My thing is I didn't assume that he was going to be there. I really don't think he's going to play.
I don't think so either. So my backup plan to win this division, like Ryan said, would probably be the Vikings.
I picked the Vikings to win it.
A very poor like 8-win, 9-win season, and
I mean, if Rodgers doesn't play, this is the worst division in football.
Yeah. But I think we're gonna agree on both sides, like AFC North and NFC North, with both teams. But like top of the division, I mean, both pretty easy.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I had the Vikings at 9 wins.
Say this to me, man.
Assuming Rodgers not there.
All right, so I think we all agree on the NFC North, and now Ryan really intrigued me with this AFC North. Who do you got winning the division?
Before we go to AFC, let's finish the NFC. We'll start with the AFC North for you. The NFC South, I have the Bucks.
Yeah, now I think we're all obviously going to have the Bucks, but
I don't have them around
debate here.
Wins, though. Like
how many wins do you have them around?
I have them like 13-4, 12-5.
Okay.
I do think the Bucks are. I don't think a lot of people like. I think they're obviously getting their whole team back. It's year 2 of like Tom Brady. I don't think the Bucks are perfect though, like people are saying. Like they're still very.
I don't. I didn't even think they were going to make it last year.
They're going to be a tough out. Like I actually had them making the Super Bowl last year against the Steelers. So I was wrong about the AFC. I do think the Bucks are slightly overrated though. Like just going into the season, that doesn't mean they're a bad team. They're still one of the top teams in the NFC. I just see people like giving them like 15-2, 16-1. I think that's too much.
Yeah,
they play in a tough division. And there was games last year where they just didn't look very good overall. and that's just how football is. It's tough to it's tough to win every week consistently. And then the division they play in is getting better. In some teams, according to Peter. The Saints, I think I have as a wild card team. We'll come back to them. I had them around like 10, 11 wins. This is the most like fascinating team to me throughout the year because obviously we're going to still do the weekly pick'ems. I really need to see it from like Jameis and Taysom to believe it because like the Saints lost obviously depth, so we're just like I'm banking on like some of these draft picks kind of going in and almost replicating it year one, which is like a tough ask. But this whole team's coming down to like Jameis Winston, honestly, for me. Like there's a decent chance that Jameis isn't very good at turning the ball over. The Saints are like hovering like around 500. But I'm going to believe in the Saints and Sean Payton. So for right now, I'll give them like 10-7. I think that's good enough for the playoffs. Like we'll come back to that. And the Panthers for me are going to finish around the same record as they did last year. I kind of looked at their schedule. I think I had them giving I think they went 5-11 last year. I think I gave them 6-11 this year. It's like a rough estimate, maybe 7-10. And the Falcons for me are only going to win like 4 or 5 games this year. But before we'll give Peter because we're gonna let him defend the Panthers. For me, like the difference between many of these teams is like coaching and quarterback. Like the Panthers for me have pretty good coaching. That's not the problem. It's me trusting Darnold. Like it just kind of goes back to like the NFC East point. It's like some of these quarterbacks I just can't trust. Like Darnold's giving me no reason to trust him whatsoever to do anything like spectacular or like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the only reason for the Panthers. And I still feel like it's only year 2 for them and they're even though I guess they could be ahead of schedule. I think they were last year. I just think kind of unfortunately they didn't get the quarterback situation right. If they took Fields, maybe my record would be a little bit different, but they didn't. So I think you guys are going to agree on the Bucks.
Yeah, I think we're all going to agree on like the same pretty much placement of how you have all the teams on this. Like definitely the Bucks winning this division. I had them at 13-4. I don't know if that's a
I
little.
have them at 13 wins as well.
I don't know if it's a little generous for you guys, but look, like he said though, Jameis really has to put it together for even the Saints to probably even make it into the wild card because they, depending on how's your guys' schedule.
It's tough.
It's tough.
It's tough.
Let's see.
I have the Saints. I'll get into it, but at like 10, 11 wins.
Yeah, I put them 11-6.
Your first couple weeks are tough.
I like the way we end the season, though. That's my like hopeful point for the Saints.
You said that Jameis is like, still there by the end of the year, playing decently.
That's what it is. Damn. I could give you guys. You're not gonna like me for this. I think I'm gonna give you guys like 9 wins. Just looking at the schedule.
I think that's assuming like a lot of things go wrong, though.
Yeah, because it's not even that. It's kind of a tough schedule, dude. You're opening, like assuming Aaron Rodgers plays, you're opening up with Green Bay. I mean, the Panthers are a decent game. I think the Pats is going to be a good game for you guys. Then the Giants. You have Washington, Seattle, the Bucks.
We usually play well against Seattle, though.
Your schedule kind of gets a little light in November, but then you still even have like the Bills to play at the end. So it's a little sprinkle.
I don't think we're winning the division with the schedule we have compared to the Bucks.
Yeah,
I don't think
no shot. But
yeah, so I see for the Saints 10-11. I see 10 or 11. I'm assuming Jameis is going to be the quarterback for the year. I just don't think once like regardless of like the stupid like training videos he posts that are kind of like comical, like I don't think really when you get into camp that Taysom Hill is going to show to be a better quarterback than Jameis. But that being said, I do think that Sean Payton's going to try some gimmicky stuff where it's like Jameis plays a whole game and let's say like we're not doing bad, but we're not doing great and the team needs a spark. And then the fourth quarter comes and then you just see Taysom finish out the game in the fourth quarter. It's going to piss me off, but I think we'll see some gimmicky stuff like that where like they trade quarters in some games depending on the team and the game plan.
I would hate that.
I would hate that too.
I don't know how to feel about that either.
Record prediction then after week 1.
I would hate that too, but I'm really worried Sean Payton's going to try stuff like that. But at the same time, it also has to be him because if you take Taysom Hill out in terms of like being a receiver, right, we're losing a huge weapon for our offense. Because if you tell him to be quarterback, then he's not going to be in the wide receiver room. He's not going to be in any of those, film rooms, practices. So we're going to lose a big weapon, right? So we need an extra body at tight end. As much as I believe in, Troutman, second-year Troutman, and then we signed the guy from the Broncos who's more of a blocking tight end who I like. But, Taysom as a weapon is good for this offense. So if you have him at quarterback, obviously we lose that. So if you still have Jameis as quarterback and Taysom running routes, I feel like that's good for our offense. 10, 11 wins, I think, is probably going to be, realistic given the schedule. I think we're good enough to beat the playoff caliber teams like the Seahawks, right? Like those kinds of teams, but there's also definitely ways we could lose. I saw the way Taysom Hill played against the Eagles. Like we could also lose against some bad teams. It's possible. It's not impossible for this team to get upset.
Not even that. Yeah. Like you don't think do you think your team will keep up in like one of those games that are just like the score gets ran up like 40-40?
Yeah, no, I think if it's a shootout, I think we could win it.
You guys
Michael Thomas should be back this year, hopefully.
We're gonna have we're gonna have everybody back healthy.
Troutman and Kamara. Yeah,
it's really just the depth. So again, I would be worried, like not looking at my schedule end of season, how guys are holding up health wise and who's behind them in terms of subs and our defensive line, how they're playing at that point in time. But I like the way the schedule falls for us at the end. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough 10 or 11 wins. But if we could get into the playoffs and sneak into the wild card, I think we can do damage in the playoffs. I'm not having the Saints going to the Super Bowl, but I think we could knock like a higher seed team out.
The Saints are so good. It just it's really the question comes down to Jameis. Like how good is he going to be? Like is he going to turn the ball over at the end of the game when you need him to go drive down the field? The Saints will be competitive, I think, in almost.
Well, that's why we're going to see what a year in that system, watching and learning, did for him.
Before we move on, just give us your quick thoughts on the Panthers can
we look at the Panther schedule right now? I have it pulled up.
Like
I know Ryan, you think
I only have 6 or 7 games this year, so I don't know where you guys have.
Okay, we have a little McDonald's bet week 1. Me and Ryan. Jets at Panthers.
You weren't here last week. Who's going to win week 1? The Jets or the Panthers?
The Jets.
Thank you.
Okay, I have the Panthers, and I put a McDonald's bet on it. That's how confident I am.
It doesn't change after Morgan Moses, or no?
Dude,
I know you wanted to change.
That's week 1.
No, look, I'm not worried about the Jets offensive line compared to the Panthers defensive line. I think that'll be a good fight. I'm worried about your secondary, which has been the problem for a while. And I think you guys are going to score points. I don't think it's going to be like an Adam Gase era where you're going to finish a game with like 3, 6, or 9 points. Like you're going to get some touchdowns, but I'm just worried about, especially at the first half. This is Zach Wilson's first NFL game. And I know Elijah Moore looks great. It's his first NFL game. Like it's a lot of people's first games. It's a lot of people's, first games of their second year. It's a really young offense and a young team in general. So I'm just worried about everything clicking and meshing as soon as you take out the field.
It's not going to be perfect week 1.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. So I think there is a path, even though it's a new quarterback in Carolina, obviously, you have some veteran players on that roster on the offense. You still have DJ Moore there. You have Robbie Anderson, right? So I'm more confident in the experience that the Panthers have as a roster for week 1 purposes at home.
Panthers could definitely win. I'm not going to make it a slam dunk. For all those reasons.
I'm not saying it's a lock. Like the Jets are going to lose. Like we can pick them, put Panthers. But
dude, I just looked at their schedule. I can't give them more than like 5. Where'd you get 6?
I give them 6 because like they are young, they're resilient. Like they'll probably find ways. Coaching is good. Besides quarterback, which something I mentioned, like maybe Darnold does play better this year. Maybe he is the 20th best quarterback out of 32, whatever. I don't think it's going to be above average either way. Their offensive line is bottom 5 in the league. Besides Taylor Moton, like that's the mismatch for me in week 1 where the Jets are going to just dominate. And if Darnold turns the ball over, we haven't seen him being able to recover mentally in these games. So like if Darnold throws a pick or whatever in the first drive or gets tipped in the air or he just fumbles it, he's done. Like we'll just score and he'll never come back. So that's like that's a season long issue, not week 1. Like it seems like every week they're going to go into the game where like it's going to be like Taylor Moton's playing and then the 4 other guys are like turnstiles.
Yeah. So I know you guys think I have like the Panthers at 11 wins or something. The way I've been talking about them for months now, I don't have them at 11 wins. I definitely see. I think the minimum amount of games that they will win is 6. I think that's the minimum. I don't think they can get worse than 6 games. This
For
team's
sure.
too good for that.
6-11 for
Get
me.
worse. Look at the schedule and tell me where you
6,
find
I'm
the
looking at it.
minimum.
6
Where's the minimum of 6 on the schedule?
Well, he has them beating
week
the
1.
Jets,
I haven't beaten the Jets.
Falcons. I'm
I
guessing.
don't think the Saints are going to sweep them. I just don't.
Okay, so they beat.
And
the
I'm a Saints fan. I don't think we could beat them twice.
They sweep
Okay.
the Falcons or no?
Huh?
Do they sweep the Falcons for you?
I think that's where it comes in. So if you're telling me Tampa Bay is going to sweep them, granted, that's fine. If you tell me that they split with the Saints and then sweep the Falcons, so that's the 3 division wins that they have, right?
Mhm.
Then you have the Jets on top of it. I think they beat Houston.
Okay.
I think they play Philadelphia at home. I like that matchup for them. And I think they could upset a team like the Giants, maybe the Vikings, or maybe the Cardinals or Dolphins. Like I see those are winnable games to me.
Okay, yeah, I gave them 6.
I'm not saying they're going to win all of them, but I'm saying like minimum 6 games.
Yeah,
Maximum, I think they could hit 8 or 9 if everything goes right. I don't think everything will go right for them to win 9 games. It's like wild
that's a
card
lot going
territory.
right.
7
a
and
lot
10.
going right.
7 and 10.
If
range.
everything goes right, I think 9 wins, but minimum 6.
Okay.
So if it's 7 or 8 wins,
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
that's fair. All right, so we'll move on. Falcons for you, I'm guessing bottom for all of us. Like just I only have
The
them.
Falcons probably going to be picking top 5.
Yeah.
Yes,
in the
sir.
draft next year.
Back years.
All right, probably the most interesting, I think, division left. Probably we're going to talk about is the NFC West. I really went back and forth with this. I looked at their schedules. I just tried doing like, what's going to happen here? Is Jimmy Garoppolo playing? At first, I had the Niners winning the division. I don't know what's going on between Jimmy G and Trey Lance. Like, even if Garoppolo plays, I still feel like they're going to make the playoffs as long as he stays healthy for all like 16 or you're not even that. They have Trey Lance now. I just didn't know like the quarterback situation. Like that was the only, and the Niners trusting them health wise. So I gave the Rams. I think Seattle won the division last year, so I have the Rams winning the division this year. But it's really, really close. Like it's literally within a game for me between them and the Niners.
Yeah.
I have the Rams around 13 wins, like 13-4. Maybe that's a little bit too high because these teams, any of the 4 teams, I think, can win a division game against each other.
That's what makes it tough.
So that's what makes it tough predicting their actual record. I have the Niners around 12 wins. This is like all depending on if they can stay healthy and if even we'll see who plays between Garoppolo and Trey Lance. I hope Trey Lance kind of like goes in toward the middle of the season and they kind of just like let him, ride out the rookie wave and see what happens. That's what I prefer they do, like especially if they're going to the play. I think they are going to the playoffs, so I'm kind of interested to see how he would do against some of these teams and kind of like give them a new identity on offense. I have Seattle still, I think, making the playoffs, but they're hovering around like 10-7. Like they said, clear weaknesses, but Russell Wilson and company should be able to still make the playoffs, in my opinion. And the Cardinals for me actually did make a jump. I think they went 8-8 last year. I have them finishing around like 9-8, 10-7. So like it's really, really close.
It's a really good division.
There's a chance all 4 of these teams make the playoffs. I think 3 out of 4 do make the playoffs.
Yeah,
at least. Yeah.
Because
Markel,
like
what do you think?
you can't literally write off Seattle. You can't write off San Fran. Even if San Fran gets injured, they'll still, I feel like, find the way to sneak it in there.
Yeah. So who do you
Unless,
have?
like they lose all the serious guys like they lost last year, and then you end up at like 6-11, 7-10. But I just don't see it. Don't see that happening again. But
So who do you have winning the division?
I was also leaning towards the Rams, but I was going back before Rams and Niners.
Okay. I have the Rams. And like Ryan said, it's tough, like trying to make the schedule. I just put down 13 wins, but 13 wins is going to be hard given that I don't think they're going to sweep anybody in the division.
I think they could sweep
So,
Arizona, but that's about it.
Yeah, maybe Arizona, but other than
but
that,
even then, I could see Arizona taking a game from them. It's possible.
The Niners could sweep them. That's what's shifting me because Shanahan always beats McVay. It just is the difference
Yeah.
this year. I had the Niners winning the division. I just couldn't.
So
trust
that's tough. But
them.
I think so. I called it 13 wins just to match my Bucks
Yeah.
record because I have that because I really do think that the Bucks and Rams will finish with the same record and they play each other early in the year. So I think that game, that head-to-head matchup is going to be the swing game of who gets the 1 or 2 seed.
I think the Rams are going to beat them. So
I think that I
really
really
good
think that both teams are going to find a way to finish with the same record. So whoever wins that game is going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC, I think. And that's like my prediction from now.
I agree. I literally have them in the same record. I have both.
The Rams also play the 49ers the last week of the season.
The Niners, for me, I think might sweep them.
Yeah.
Maybe it really all depends.
Depends. If
Honestly, I don't think Trey Lance could beat the Rams. I just don't know if Trey Lance is going to have an opportunity to play the Rams.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So
Yeah,
again, it all depends.
what
We don't
they
know who's
do
going to be
there.
playing for San Francisco,
We don't
but
have the Rams. So just before we move on, I know we talked about like division winners. Do you have all 4 teams making the playoffs or no in this division?
no, it's
That would be
so
a-
hard for an NFL.
Well, for me, the only difference, the only team in the way for this for me happening is the Saints. So if Jameis Winston isn't very good, I'm gonna have all 4 teams making this division. For right now, I don't. I have the Saints in over, I think, Arizona, but I do have Arizona making like a decent improvement from 8-8 to like 10-7, 9-8. I do think they make like a little bit of a jump. Not much. It might not be enough to make the playoffs, but they'll be in contention.
So then,
They'll be there the whole way in the hunt.
There's definitely a chance, though.
There's a chance all 4 teams make the
That would be crazy.
but by that logic, what you're saying, right?
I have teams like my 2 teams who just missed out would be Washington and Arizona for like and the Vikings.
Yeah.
But obviously the Vikings, like we said, depends on Aaron Rodgers because that's going to be switched really quick. Because the Packers for me are like 12-5 right now with Rodgers. If he doesn't play, they're going like 7-10, maybe even lower. So the Vikings will have a clear path to the division.
Probably even lower, dude.
Probably even lower. Yeah, I'm just trying to be generous.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jordan Love actually like 5 wins, maybe 4. Yeah, but for right now, I'm gonna assume he plays, and then from there,
Yeah. So
Washington-
September 26th, I think, is going to be the deciding factor of who gets the number 1 seed
that's
in the NFC. Once I see, it's week 3. So by week 3, I think I know who's going to win the NFC as a conference and get the 1 seed, the winner of that game. In my mind, it'll be made up.
That's gonna be a lot of fun. Looking forward. A lot of pretty good teams. Like the NFC, I think this year compared to the last couple of years is stronger than ever. I think there's at least 10 teams I can see making the playoffs, 11, which is something we couldn't say the past couple of years. And obviously, everyone knows we have that 1 extra playoff spot this year, which is nice too. I think we're going to see some fun matchups, some fun 7 seats. So that'll be 7 against 3, 4 against 5, whatever the combination is. I think there'll be some good matchups in the playoffs. Let's move on to the AFC. I know, Markel, you want to start with the North.
I feel like it's the easiest one to just get out of the way. I mean, I hope you guys would agree.
I have the Browns.
Yeah.
It's really close though. Like between them and the Ravens.
Yeah, I don't have the Ravens where I have the Browns in terms of win total.
I have them only off by a game. I have them like
Really?
Yeah,
How many wins do you have the Browns at since you picked them?
13.
I have the Browns at 13 games as well. So you really think the Ravens are winning 12 games?
I'm winning 11.
12, 11. Yeah, I still think. Yeah.
I'm winning 11.
I think 12 is like if everything goes right.
But everything does go right for Baltimore. Almost
Yeah,
everything.
Baltimore usually has a plan and it works out.
Yeah, the rest of the division though, the Steelers for me, I kind of went back and forth with them like the whole entire way. I did this like sometimes we had a long time to do this episode, so like I was like prepping. I was like, oh, the Steelers, maybe they're playoffs, maybe they're not. And then they cut to Castro last week, which wasn't really a huge factor for me because they still have a bottom 3 offensive line in the league. It was just kind of realizing that like between this, Big Ben kind of aging, I only had them around 7. I have them at around 7-10, 6-11. The Steelers. I think there's a drop off. We've seen the way they ended last year, right? Where they started off 10-0. How many games did they lose toward the end of the year? Like the last 5 out of 6, 6 out of 7,
Something like that. Yeah, they went on ridiculous. Like,
and the playoff loss was like really bad. So yeah, I just had them like I don't have them being awful. I still have them around 7-10. Like it's still Mike Tomlin coach team. They could go 8-9. I trust them that much, but we do have to realize offense line terrible. Big Ben's really aging. And their defense is still good, but it's not going to be like elite. So it's going to be tough, and they play in a really tough division if we're going to be honest. So I have them around there, and the Bengals for me are probably going to be the bottom of the division. They're not ready yet. They are going to be a fun team for me to watch, like exciting on offense. I do want to bring up a point though at the end of the episode about like coaches who are on the hot seat are going to be fired. I'll just
Zach Taylor.
I think Zach Taylor's going to be fired. I think he should have been fired last year. I think he'll be fired at the end of this year.
Yeah, it's probably fair. Real quick before Markel, you go, I want to apologize to Baltimore fans because I thought there was going to be a bigger gap between them and Cleveland because of how confident I am in Cleveland. I'm looking at the Ravens schedule, and this is
Yeah.
this favors them.
Yeah, you see why
This is I don't want to say an easy
schedule.
schedule, but this is a really winnable
It's winnable
schedule.
games. Yeah, it's easily you could see 11, 12.
The end of the year, like I think they're just better than the Steelers. Ryan's higher on the Steelers than I am. Like I think there's this path for the Ravens to sweep the Steelers. So you play the Steelers in December and in January. You play the Bengals in December. You play the Packers. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be there. And then the Rams is the tough game. But yeah, so
I have the Steelers 5 games less than the Ravens.
I'm still going to stay with Cleveland winning the division, but I agree with what you say now. I think the Ravens are only going to be maybe a game behind.
I
Do
had
you
the
guys
Ravens.
see that the Browns and the Ravens play each other in back-to-back weeks? No, I'm sorry. The Browns get a bye, and then they come or someone gets a bye, and then they come off to play.
Yeah,
this is great.
It's just close because I had the Ravens. I did this a couple times. I had the Ravens actually 2 out of 3 times as my division winners. The only reason why I switched to the Browns is because like I also took into like consideration like year 2 of Stefanski and the Browns. I think they are going to be better than they were last year, and just all the talent they added. And I do think Odell might be the difference, which I know he hasn't been talked about a lot. I just think he might be the difference in why the Browns look really, really like better or like. I feel like he's gonna have the year like Stephon Diggs had, not as good, but like just like Odell's gonna kind of announce that he's back to the NFL. So
and what's really exciting is because the AFC North has like easy schedules. I think so. Now looking at the Ravens matchups and who they play weekly, like the order in which they play them and home and away, like I think it favors them. Their home and away matchups, all that. They're going to be close to the Browns record. Like the Browns and Ravens have a similar record, I think, all year. And then they play each other again twice towards the end of the year. So that's I think what's going to decide the division.
Yeah, so it's the 28th of November, and then they play the Browns go on a bye for a week, and then they come off the bye to play them again December 12th.
That's going to be deciding who wins.
Yeah, pretty much. Like we're going to see who wins the North right then and there.
This is the division where this team is going to end up as the number 2 seed for me. Whoever wins it between Baltimore and the Browns.
And honestly, bro, I'm going to give the edge to the Browns because they're going to have the bye. They're going to have the extra week to game plan. They just played them, so they're going to see what mistakes they made. And I wouldn't be surprised if they come out in that second game on the 12th.
I also just think they're the better team.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like they just had such a great offseason. They put it all together. So I think, right then and there, we see Cleveland secure the North.
We all agree, at least no matter what happens, these 2 teams are going to make the playoffs outside of like.
Yeah.
Let's move on. The South. I think Peter, you have the Colts winning, right?
Yes, I have them at only 10 wins though.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I have the same record, but I have the Tennessee Titans going 10-7.
So that's what I mean. Like it could go either way.
This division right now is still the worst in football, unless the Packers get rid of Rodgers. Or he doesn't play. This division was so tough because like the Texans obviously are not in consideration. I actually had them winning 1 game, I think at like the last week of the season. So like 1-16. Jacksonville only have like 4 or 5 wins. I just don't see a path for them to win. And so this obviously comes down between Tennessee and the Colts. The reason why I didn't pick the Colts and why they could is because Carson Wentz. I just couldn't do it. Like he was so bad last year. And I know it's like a different system, Frank Reich. I trust that. I still have them winning 9 games. Like the thing is, I looked at their schedule, right? Like the Colts and the Titans, I feel are going to win 4 division games each. I think
they're going to sweep the rest of the division besides each other.
Maybe, depending on how they do against each other. So it's just like looking at the rest of the schedule, and it's like the Colts can be so much better. This is all depending on Wentz. Like the Colts for me probably have the better overall team than the Titans, but at the same time, like they don't have AJ Brown or Julio Jones. So like so I just have the Titans for now, just winning, but barely, like literally a game off each other.
Yeah. So I see them finishing again either a game off each other, same record. The tiebreaker I gave to the Colts. I just going with the Colts, not even just because it's a better like team, I guess you could say, because the defense is a lot better in my opinion, even though the offense not necessarily like it isn't. I'm just higher on Wentz than you are. I have more faith that he'll bounce back, not to his MVP caliber, but just to a good quarterback in the NFL than I guess you do.
Yeah, I kind of wish Philip Rivers was there. I'd pick them to win the division.
But I would not. Yeah, I would not put money saying the Colts are 100% going to win the division.
Yeah, I'm looking at like the end of the Titans schedule right now too, and it's kind of tough. So like there's still a way that the Colts, like if they do play well at the end of the season and then the Titans just fall into like this little pit of what is it? Let's see. I mean, you have the Steelers, I wouldn't even say is like tough, but depending on if they're playing for a spot, they could be playing hard. Then you go with the 49ers and the Dolphins. Like those are 3 rough teams to walk into in like the last ending weeks of the season.
At Tennessee.
The Dolphins is at Tennessee.
No, I meant like that's Tennessee. I didn't know.
That's Tennessee's, yeah.
So yeah, that is tough. Like that's why I don't like this division for me is probably going to be the least in terms of who wins the division outside of like Rodgers doesn't play. This is going to have the least win totals of a division winner in the NFL. For me, I mean, I could see it. There's a path that the Colts can win 10, 11 games. I don't know their schedule like the back of my hand, but if Wentz
the last 2 games for the Colts, like the last 2 weeks, January 2nd, January 9th, they play the Raiders at home, and then they play the Jaguars in Jacksonville.
So those are 2
So
wins.
you're ending the season on 2 wins.
Yeah,
I think it really matters how they split the matchup during the season.
Yeah,
because they play each other early in week 3, and then I think they don't play again until week. What is this?
Halloween.
5, 6, 7. Week 8.
The Colts should be able to win 5 divisions, 4 at the least. But if they split with Tennessee, it should be 5. There's no reason why they should be losing to Jacksonville or the Texans. But I guess that same logic applies to Tennessee. So.
And I know you said the Julio Jones effect, but I don't think Julio Jones is going to play more than 10 games.
Nah.
I think he's going to go
I think he's going to be the healthiest he's ever been in his whole career, dude. And he's not going to be out there as a decoy. Because he's not going to be asked. Like, I don't know.
Again, so I'm not going to fault you guys for thinking that because Julio Jones, again, is a top 5 receiver. I think how Ryan has his PTSD, Sam Darnold effect. I have that just watching Julio Jones my whole life.
Yeah, but Julio's actually amazing at football.
He's just, I know. He's just never there, and he only plays against the Saints.
That's kind
it's so annoying, dude. He will have a bum
like
hamstring, not play for 2 weeks. The Saints come up on the schedule. He plays the Saints, and then he skips the next week again. He only plays the Saints.
I don't know. He plays like 13 games on average a year. He plays a lot.
Yeah, I would say he plays a decent amount of games. He's just
because he doesn't miss his division games. Because he doesn't miss the division games.
Last year, we'll just be fair to him. Like there was no reason for him to come back against some of these teams, like the Land.
Yeah.
Like there was no reason to push him back. So.
Yeah, dude, I think he's going to be the healthiest he's been his whole career, and
you better take him in fantasy with that.
Dude, if he's available at the right time, best believe I'm taking him.
I think he's gonna be a top 10 receiver in fantasy
next week if you guys want. Because so again, not to interrupt the episode, but I actually leave for Greece in a week, so I'm not gonna be here for maybe like 2 episodes you guys do. So if you guys want to sneak in before I leave a fantasy episode, just like maybe top 5 at the position or something like that, we could do that if you guys want.
Yeah, just going forward, we're probably going to be mentioning a lot of fantasy. I don't think we did a lot last year because we kind of started. No. We started literally week 1 last year, just like pick them. But this year, I'm definitely want to do fantasy, especially leading into training camp. So
the only thing that's going to be annoying is because we're all in us 3 are in 2 different leagues altogether, and I know people in our fantasy leagues listen to us, so we're going to be giving out advice for people we're going to be playing against.
It's a tough scene out there.
Everyone knows this, every league I'm in. So everyone leave Chris Carson for me in round 3, or he's going to be dropped off your team if you take him. So I'm letting you know that now. Today is June 29th. I seen the picture of him shredded. I had a couple of different people send him to me, that picture, because they know I'm drafting him anyway. And I'll get Chris Carson in 1 league. I'm in 3 different leagues, I think, this year. He's going to end up in one of the leagues for me.
He's going to end up in 2 leagues for you, Ryan.
Probably 2.
You might have, in our Brooklyn league, though, you might have to snag him in the 2nd round.
I'm going to get him.
I'm going to get him.
Even if I'll trade a lot of my entire team for Chris Carson. So
I'm going to get him.
Yeah, don't worry about that. We'll be all right. All right, so we got the South. Let's go to the AFC East. I have the Bills winning again.
I don't think that's a surprise there.
Yeah, I have them winning actually by a lot of games.
How many games do you have them at?
I had them at 13-4.
I have them at 12-5.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna move it to 12-5 actually, because I do think they'll regress a little bit. Still a playoff team, still really.
It's just they're still going to be top of the conference. It's just
they went last.
It's hard to maintain that.
Yeah, and then a couple
level of winning.
A couple games last year where they won, where those are the games that can go 50-50 against the Rams, right? Where the Rams came all the way back. I think
then they should have beat a team like Arizona, so you have to give it
Well, and the Patriots, Cam Newton fumbled. Yeah. Patriots really could have won that game, so I'll give them 12-5. And that's still enough. That's a big gap for me because the next team I have in the division is the Patriots. I have them around 9-8, 10-7. Like I still think they're going to be good, but not like the difference for me last year is like just they went 7-9. I think there's a 2-game difference, 3-game difference depending on how things go. This is what we'll talk. We haven't really talked about like least or like most disappointing teams. For me, the Giants are going to end up in that category because I don't have them making the playoffs.
Okay.
I have them at 7-10. I don't know. A lot of people. We talked about this last week with Peter. It was like a lot of people have the Giants either or. Like I have a Jet fan for some reason on Twitter thinking the Giants are going to make the Super Bowl and win it.
Oh, wow.
No, but there's Giants like season's kind of like all over the place right now in terms of like where they're going to fall. The Dolphins to me are going to be the second. The Dolphins are going to be the most disappointing team for me in the NFL heading into like the season. I had them going like 8-9, and like that's still not a bad record, but I don't think they hit 10 wins again. And so yeah, I had them around 8-9, and this is probably the most homer pick ever, but I have the Jets around 7-10, 8-9 as well.
Damn. Whoa.
And I'm really pushing it. I'm going to say 8-9 right now on this.
For the Jets,
8-9 right now. Yeah,
Ryan.
I was giving you guys like 6.
8-9 right now. So
Ryan, I tell you this every single year. You're gonna get your hopes up, and they're gonna let you down, man.
They're not going to let me down, even if they win 16.
They do it every year to you.
All right,
Every year they do it to you.
I'm comfortable giving you guys 6 wins.
For everybody listening, let me tell you exactly what
Listen up.
happens during the NFL season, okay? The Jets will lose a really disappointing game, and Ryan will be like, screw this team. I'm done with them. They suck. They're the worst team in the league. I don't believe them. I have no hope. They're done. Season's over. It'll be like week 3 is like season's over, right?
Well,
Then
no,
they'll win one game in the middle of the season. He's like, all right, that's it. We're making a run. This is it.
that only happened one time against the Cowboys. But listen, to be fair, like I'm a pretty spot on Jet fan. We hired Gase, hated him. Like I knew that season was over. Like ever since he's been there, I haven't been this excited about a Jet team for real. Like just heading into the year, I can't even remember. Like this is going to be so exciting. Like seriously, for the first time in like 10. Even if we win 6 games, like that's fine. Like we're gonna be like it's gonna be a fun year. Like our year is not going to like determine like the difference between 6 and 8 games for me is not going to be that much of a difference. I think the main point is we're going to be competitive and like it's not going to be like an Adam Gase led team. I mean, anything is going to be better than what we did last year. But I think you guys are like sleeping on them a little bit.
I'm not.
I'm not sleeping on you guys. I just don't want to
It's a hard schedule.
Yeah.
At the same
I
point,
just don't think you're there yet
I don't know. I
to
think
be winning against some of these teams.
see for me like, and I know
It
we
depends.
do, but like for me the schedule's kind of irrelevant almost every year. It's like there's 17 games this year, right? Like yes, the division's tough. The Jets are not going to win the division. They're not going to make the playoffs most likely. But everyone knows that. It's just like at a certain point, it's like every team gets a break or two during the year, like depending on your schedule. Like there's going to be injuries, and it's how you play. Like you can beat any team in the league. Like the Jets beat the Rams last year. Like your schedule is irrelevant. It's just how you play.
I get it. I can't see. I think 6 wins is being generous.
I don't know. I think there's a very good.
I don't think it's being generous. I think 6 wins is being a little realistic.
I think 6 is the floor, for being honest. Unless like Zach Wilson gets hurt.
Nah, 6 definitely isn't the floor. 6 is like
6 is the floor for me. I think they're gonna have 6 somewhere between 6 and 8 wins this year.
I think the Jets could win 5 games. I think 5 should maybe be the floor.
I think they're gonna be 7-10. I think that's gonna be like the record.
damn man. I mean, look, if you're in on it, I mean, yeah, I think I agree with Pierre though. I think 5 is my floor. I'd say 7 is my ceiling. Like
If everything goes right, I'm looking at it right now. If everything goes right, like I think the Panthers are going to win. But again, anything 50-50, I'll chalk up a Jets W just to see best case scenario. So I see 1 win, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So best case scenario, I can see 8 wins.
Well, like I said, I'm gonna stick somewhere between 6 and 8. So
I got 6 wins out of that, even with the.
I could see. I think it's really gonna be 5 or 6 games. 1. I just think you're a year away.
I mean, maybe if you guys split with the Dolphins and then
I think they will. I don't think they're gonna get swept by the Dolphins.
you split, you're not splitting with the Pats, I don't think.
I don't think so either. Not with like a Belichick edge.
Yeah.
quarterback. The only way we could is week 2.
It's rough, dude, and you're probably not splitting with. Look, I mean, I don't think I told you guys, but yeah, I definitely have the Bills winning, but I don't think you guys are splitting with the Bills either.
No, I think you're getting swept by Buffalo and New England, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I don't have
And just because I have you guys splitting with Miami, there's still a chance you could lose both games, but there's also a chance you could win both.
I mean, if
I think-
I split you
I
guys,
think
with
the
Miami,
matchup with
you
Miami
each
is
other.
closer than people think.
I had them beating the Dolphins once. So
Like I just
Yeah.
have Zach Wilson being so much better than Tua, regardless of who Miami has on offense. It doesn't
So
scare
yeah,
me. Honestly, it doesn't.
if you guys split Miami, then you get 7. But I think that's where I could top you guys out at. That's my ceiling for you.
Like you could be worried about the Jets secondary against Miami when it comes to like playing against Will Fuller and Jalen Waddle, right?
Mike
Even
Gesicki,
Parker. Yeah, like
Devontae Parker. Yeah,
like
there-
you
there's a
see
lot
that
of
and you're like,
people
oh,
there.
Miami's gonna win. Honestly, I don't know if I trust Tua to be a downfield thrower and get them the football like that.
I think Tua's been a little bit more aggressive, is what I've been seeing in like camp and whatnot. He's just like letting it fly.
Yeah,
Dude, he threw,
aggressive
like, 3
throwing.
picks
Yeah,
the other day. Yeah,
6
so he just doesn't
interceptions.
care.
you guys
But
had.
dude, I mean, look, it's better for him to get it out now. You know, and
The problem is I don't know if he's gonna get it out now.
Let
He's
him get it
scared to
out,
throw a
dude.
50-50 ball.
What happened?
He's scared to throw a 50-50 ball. From what I
He's
saw from
throwing them
Tua
now.
last
He's
season, he
throwing
needs his
picks.
receivers. He needs his receivers to be wide open. I didn't see him throwing with anticipation.
Are the Dolphins going to make the playoffs for you guys?
No,
If everything goes right, yeah, but probably not.
So I had them.
no. I think there are too many good teams in the AFC.
Yeah, same. I don't have the Dolphins making the playoffs either. So for me, like that's the most disappointing team. I think just entering expectations after last year.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, so we talked a lot about the Jets. We had to get them in there. But just we'll say it again. I don't have them making the playoffs. I don't want people like to come at me. Like I have them somewhere between 6 and 8 wins. 8 wins is probably the ceiling for me. But I do feel like they're going to beat some teams they're not supposed to this year.
All right, so the best for last.
Yeah, the AFC West. Obviously, I have the Raiders win. No, Chiefs are winning the division. Number 1 seed. I think I have them at 15-2, 14-3. I know
Nah, bro, Pat Mahomes is going to be the first guy to do it 17-0.
17.
No, I have them actually 16-1.
Okay, so I actually gave them like a loss or 2 in the division. I think that's the only.
I think they could definitely lose 2 games.
Yeah, it's just like it's so hard to win. Like it's so hard to go 17-0. Especially even if they are 16-0. Like I don't think there's a guarantee that Andy Reid would play that starters the last week of the year.
Yeah, just to say you got the perfect season.
That's like they have the number 1 seed locked
And
up.
plus injuries happen. I don't know.
Yep. So I actually have the Chargers making the playoffs this year though. So
Okay,
I have them in
So-
11-6, 10-7. I just think they're going to be really.
let's take a look at the Chargers schedule.
Chargers going to be a very good team this year, yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
and Brandon Staley is going to be the difference for me. I think this defense is going to be actually like not just names anymore. Like it's not going to be a top 3 unit, but I just think they're going to be kind of finally put the like hopefully Derwin James stays healthy. But I just feel like Staley's such a good coach. So what he did with the Rams, I feel like he'll get the best out of what the Chargers have on the field, especially defensively because that's been lacking. Like the offensive line's better, and I just trust like the Chargers offense to win enough games to make the playoffs. And kind of
So here's the thing. Yeah. So here's my thing with the Chargers, real quick, right? You could say it's a tough schedule, especially in the first half. The second half of the year, this is how you end your season, right? November 28th, you have Denver. You could beat Denver, even if it's in Denver. There's a way you could beat the Broncos. It's possible, right? Then you go to Cincinnati. You're probably going to beat Cincinnati. You play the Giants at home. I think there's a way for either team to win. That's a 50-50 game to me. But let's assume the best for the Chargers. You could win that game against the Giants. You'll probably lose against the Chiefs end of the year. Then you play the Texans. And then you finish the season playing the Broncos again at home and then going and playing the Raiders.
Yeah, I think those.
So if you're fighting for a wild card, which is what they'll be doing, like they're going to have a very favorable schedule in terms of finishing the year.
Yeah, that sounds to me like 5 out of 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like just tell them they're going to get in because of the easy schedule. I think they can slay with the Chiefs this year. I think it's possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I think the Chargers are that good of a team where like I don't think they should be like talked about as like if you're placing the Chargers, you're going to get a win. Like I just don't see that. Like Herbert's that guy. So if you want to assume like whatever. I know like all Chargers, every year 7-9, whatever, or they always hyped up, but I don't know. This year feels a little bit different for the Chargers, so I had them making the playoffs.
They definitely have an easy path to 12 wins. Like I was just looking at their schedule right now. I counted 12.
I gave them 11. I wanted to be like just in case injury game, whatever.
I also threw, yeah, you know what it is? I threw them the Giants winning as well. So if the Giants take that game, give them 11.
And division games are kind of up in the air, even if the division like for me, like this is another team. I think John Gruden's gonna be fired this year on the hot seat. Finally, I've been talking about this for 3 years. Like he's not a good coach. I was right all along. He's a pretty good offensive coordinator. Like that's not the problem. It's just like everything else that goes with being a head coach. It's not like I don't know. The Raiders just
Team building.
yeah, the Raiders are just stuck in the mud, and they somehow got worse. Like, how is that possible? Like, they got rid of their offensive line, and that's one of the key. Like, that's why they've been winning 7 games every year. So, like, they start off, and they might even do it again this year. They start off the year pretty hot, right? Like, they'll beat a team or two they're not supposed to. We'll get hyped up and like, oh, Derek Carr, Raiders looking good. This is it. Like, year 4, year 5 of the rebuild. They're finally going in the right direction, and we're back where we started in December when they lose the last 4 to 5 or lose the last 5 out of 5, and then we're looking at like.
It's not Derek Carr's fault, dude.
No, I'm not blaming him.
No, it's not. He has no team around him.
Yeah,
every year, every team in the NFL gets better. Every team usually puts a foot in the right direction.
Yep.
And the Raiders either stay in the same place or, if anything, move backwards.
Bro, they're the only roster away like his weapons.
Like even the Jaguars who won 1 game, like they got better.
Yeah, every team.
Besides the Texans, because of their situation, like these are the bottom.
Yeah, and it's not that hard to get that better. Like especially when you're like, I'm not like the Raiders aren't coming off 13 wins; they're coming off 7 wins. Like they improved defensively, but like at the same time, like you almost like you almost got rid of all that because you got rid of the offensive line. So, and you got rid of
even.
I don't want to overrate Nelson Aguilar, but like you've seen the connection he had with Derek Carr last year. There's no reason not to sign him back.
For real, I did not understand that.
I know they're banking on Henry Ruggs to take the next step, of course. Like he's the first-round pick from last year, but. Like, I'm never getting rid of someone who had good chemistry with my quarterback. Like, I'm not doing it. Like, there's no reason to do it. But, they do play in a tough division to begin with. So, besides all that, like, for me, there was no realistic option for them, even if they had a good offseason to beat the Chiefs. Like, they beat the Chiefs last year. I'm talking about actually winning the division, beating the Chiefs. It's not possible for me. And the Chargers got so much better. So, I actually have the Raiders finishing last in this division. I have them like 6-11. Maybe they go 7-10. I just feel like this is the record that they've been doing for years, and this year it might implode a little bit toward the end. We're like, who's the owner? Who's the owners down there? I forgot. He was at the Vegas game. He was at the UFC event last year. I just think he'll finally like crumble. Like he'll just finally like give in to like the fans' demands. Or like we're not going in the right direction, and they'll fire Gruden like year 4, year 5 out of the 10-year deal. Mayock probably gone too, if we're being honest. But we'll see what they do with him. Where do you guys have Denver? I have them hovering around like 7 wins this year, and it's really just because
7 or 8.
Okay.
Denver's tricky. I think they're the most like wishy-washy, so to speak, team in the NFL because things could either go right, like it could click, right? Like Drew Lock doesn't need to be a superstar if he just plays like game manager, like and is able to move the ball. Like this team could win those 50-50 games, right? But then obviously it's an easier path for him not to succeed. And then the team crumbles because they're not playing behind the quarterback. Like there's a realistic chance that Teddy Bridgewater takes over this team halfway through the year.
Yeah, they were kind of like the I don't want to say most unpredictable team. Like I gave them wins based on their defense and based on them playing at home in Denver. A couple of their wins were like it's tough, and this year they have the crowd back. But yeah, I would feel so much better about them, even like if they took Fields.
Yeah, 100%.
I think they should have taken Fields.
My thing is like, if let's say they bench Lock halfway through the season, Teddy Bridgewater takes over. If you're any team playing Denver, you see Denver's coming up on your schedule. Are you even worried?
No, because at the same point, like if Drew Lock's not playing well, turning the ball over, and even if Teddy comes in, it's like as good as their defense is, if they don't have like a decent
down the field thrower.
Yeah, or even decent offense. It's like that defense can get tired out. And you know what happens with teams like the Bears in the past where like you can have such a good defense, but if you don't have anything inspiring on offense, the defense, I don't want to say they'll give up, but they won't be
it's demoralizing.
They won't be as good as they can be. Yeah, they'll just be demoralized. And that kind of feels like the way it's going to go, right? Because the division they're in. It's like they can play so well on defense and they'll still end up losing probably to Mahomes. Like, and the same thing could be said with Herbert. Where like, all right, the defense might come out. Like that's what I feel what will happen. Like Denver will kind of come out hot, start the year, overall. Like on defense, we'll see a couple of flash plays on offense, and there just won't be much consistency from game to game with Drew Lock.
Yeah, so it'll be a fun season, that's for sure. I can't wait for it. Counting down the Sundays.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. All right, so well, that's it for like the division winners and playoff teams, I think. Is there any team? Oh, actually, what did you guys think of? Like, give me coaches who are gonna be fired. I think that's gonna be fun before the season starts.
Before the
Ooh.
season starts? Oh man.
No, I mean like predicted now before
From now.
Oh,
it happens yet. No one's gonna be fired before the season.
Zach Taylor's a good one. I could see why you would think Gruden. I just not yet.
Still,
Maybe
nah, I think Gruden might be on the hot seat, dude. They haven't done anything.
I think by the end of the year they'll put him on the hot seat, but I don't think
I'm talking about who's gonna be fired by like I'm talking about like this, like January.
Nagy.
January of next
Nagy 100%. I was about to say,
Nagy's
yeah.
gone.
I don't think he's gonna get fired, and it's strictly because they
If
drafted.
the Cowboys do not win the division, is Mike McCarthy on the hot seat?
No.
Yeah,
If
'cause
Dak plays all games and they
Yeah,
don't win the
nah.
division,
Nah.
unless they go like 4 wins or 5 wins,
Yeah, unless they're like detrimentally bad. Like, no.
because they're still
all right. What about the new coach in Philly
No, dude.
getting a
new year?
chance to play it out?
no, yeah, there's no.
What about Kingsbury? I think Kingsbury might be on the hot seat.
See, for them, I still have them winning 9-10 games though for me. So,
But
I guess if they don't make the play, but they also play in a really tough division. I think they'll kind of give him like.
if they don't make the playoffs, like,
Yeah, but if they don't make the playoffs by 1 game and they win 10 games, like the Dolphins did last year, I don't think they'll fire him. But I could see why. Like Kingsbury is a good choice. I probably would have fired him after last year, but I guess I don't know. We've seen what Arizona's done.
what about all right, so what do you guys think about if Denver, right? They're bad.
Fangio,
Fangio gone because he passed on Fields.
but they just got
That's not his.
they
Yeah,
just got a new general manager too, Patton. So unless he wants to move on, there's like a power struggle maybe.
I think they'll blame it on the quarterback before they blame it on the coach. So I think he sticks around.
The Texans guy, Culley, after 1 year, yes or no?
Nah, bro. 1 year with that.
I think the team's too bad to fire the. It's not going to be what the coach is doing. It's just going to be what the roster's doing.
Okay.
I mean, look, you got to figure, right? If Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay, is LaFleur still going to stay?
Yeah,
Really?
100%.
Let's say in that division, Mike Zimmer. He's been on the hot seat before. The Vikings don't.
Yeah,
make
but I don't think he's going anywhere. Honestly, it's easy to say now that I don't think many coaches are going to get fired, but
No, it always happens.
the way the NFL season always happens, there's always a team that disappoints, and then owners and general managers just don't want to stand for it. Like, it's just inexcusable to them, like the downfall of their team.
There's a good chance 5 coaches will be fired. Like that's just how it is. I think every year on average. Like I'm saying Gruden, Zach Taylor.
Nagy.
No, I think Nagy's gonna be safe only because like they drafted a rookie quarterback. So if Dalton plays at all games this year, that's their plan. Like it's a stupid plan because Justin Fields should be in. But I feel like just that draft selection kind of almost extended Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy. I mean, you guys
We'll
know.
see. We'll see how it plays out. It all
I would
depends,
fire-
honestly,
I'd
in my
fire
head.
them. But like, I don't think that's the plan for Chicago. I mean, things change. I know a lot of Bears fans were pissed off last year. At the end of the year, you've seen what the Bears released last year. You guys remember this after the playoff game? Like the owner came out and said about like a lot of fans are demanding Pace and Nagy to be fired. For me, drafting Fields kind of like set them up. But yeah, I guess they could be fired. I don't think they will be. I don't know. A lot of these teams kind of have new coaches though, so it's tough to like. You're not going to fire a coach in year 1.
Yeah, you can't. Like, you know what I mean? You give a
But,
guy one
yeah,
shot with a pretty bad team on top of it. Like once these year 1 coaches are in.
I guess other coaches could retire, but that doesn't count as firing. I guess Pete Carroll could retire. Like it's possible.
Bro, Pete Carroll honestly kind of needs to retire. I think Seattle needs a new look at head coach.
It's not going to happen.
I'm not a fan of his play calling, and
It's not. I don't think it's gonna happen either. But I mean,
it would be nice though. That's what I'm trying to say.
But 100%, boys. Let's try to do a fantasy episode before any vacations happen.
do like entire like episode on like just every position. Like, what do you want to do?
We'll figure it out during the week. We'll text in our chat. We'll figure it out. But for everybody listening, definitely trying to get a fantasy episode in to some capacity.
We'll get in one.
And honestly, when I get back, It depends because when I get back from Greece, Ryan goes to Ireland.
Yeah, I'll bring my laptop that we can record.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure it
Okay,
out.
so
It might be a really weird time for me or you guys, but
because I think it would be a lot of fun to do maybe like mock drafts,
yeah, like a fantasy
like
one.
how we did with the NFL season, the regular draft season. We could do like fantasy all together. We'll hop in the same thing and do mock drafts. We'll do different scenarios, different plans for drafting. We
Yeah,
could do draft guides.
different
for
draft.
people.
There's always a different everyone knows this, but there's always a different process. Like depending on where you get your first pick, like that changes
Yeah.
the entire draft because your next pick it could be like 20 picks away, it could be 10 picks away, it could be
Yeah.
could be
And we
back-
could really shoot out a lot of episodes like
Back
that
to
for
back.
everybody.
yeah, we know how much people love fantasy football, so
Yeah.
yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. So I've already done a few mock drafts, just spoiler alert.
Oh, I haven't done any yet.
I haven't done it in a
Yeah.
couple of weeks, but I did one like early May or actually end of May. So just to get an idea of like where people were going. I'll just say this: there's a lot of rookies kind of going very high this year. in certain
Yeah.
positions. Yeah, especially running back. Like running backs, I know it's a weird situation.
I feel like that always happens when they're first round running backs. Like in
Yeah, and because like
NFL.
if we're being honest, running back is the most like lacking in terms of fantasy. Like you have a good round or two, right, and then everything else is like kind of up in the
drop
air.
off.
Yeah, or hoping that this guy breaks out or this team is pretty good because there's such a drop off between like Dalvin Cook, McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, and then the next tier. So, but anyway, looking forward to it.
Yep.
Thank you guys for joining us.
And we'll try to talk again within the week.